Welcome back. I am Evangel from capacitybay.org and I'm your instructor for today's topic. In our previous session, we continued from where we stopped in lists and we ended with avoiding index errors when working with lists. In these last two sessions, we worked on how to make a simple list and we also learned to work with the individual elements in a list. In this session, we'll be learning about how to loop through an entire list using just a few lines of code, regardless of how. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Now, let's talk about looping through an entire list. You often want to run through all entries in a list, performing the same tasks with each item. For example, in a game, you might want to move every element on the screen by the same amount. When you want to do the same action with every item in a list, you can use Python's for loop. So let's go straight to our Python IDE shell. And let's create a list. Let's say magicians, and let's say Carol. Fred and Gia. So, using the for loop, let me write it out. For magician and magicians. The for loop is basically a Python keyword where we're saying that we want to now, like this, in this line of code, let's look at it critically. We are basically telling Python that it should pull a name from the list of magicians and associate it with the variable magician. So, as associating with the variable for the variable in magicians, we would print magician. If you notice, there is a colon and there is an indentation. The colon is what lets this indentation to be possible, shown, workable, because without this indentation, it doesn't work as a for loop. What is showing after doesn't work in the for loop. If there is no indentation, it can't work in the for loop, it works on its own. If there is an indentation, it works in the for loop. So that is the essence of the colon and the essence of the indentation. So let's save. Okay. Let's see. Desktop. Not saving it as loop.py. Save. So we're going to run our code. As you can see, it prints each element in the list. So going to the next. Now we're going to try to do more work within a for loop. So we want to print a message alongside each name that is going to be printed in the list. So we are calling out the name magician, and we want to put the first letter of each name in capital. So that's it. That was a great trick. So the essence of what we are doing is with every element in the list that is printed out, it shows that was a great trick alongside it. That is the message. So we save, we run module. Okay, sorry. I didn't add this. Yeah. So run module, and you can see that the Carol, Fred, and Gia, the first letters in the names are in capital, and it shows that was a great trick for each element in the list. So what happens once a for loop has finished executing? Usually you want to summarize a block of outputs or move on to an other work that your program must accomplish. So to be able to go on to the next without it printing in the for loop, that is when you have to remove the indentation. This spacing, if you print anything here or you write anything here, it goes in the for loop, it works in the for loop. So once the spacing is gone, it works solely on its own. It's not associated with the for loop anymore. So let's say we want to print thank you everyone, that was a great show. So we save. So as you can see, it is no longer associated with the for loop. You can print on its own. So that's how you can move on to the next and continue with your code. So let's talk about avoiding indentation errors. If you forget to indent, it will show you that you have an indentation error because this is a for loop. This is a for loop. You cannot leave or backspace this tab right here. It wouldn't work. Let's try it out. Code. Unexpected or expected an indented block. It expected an indented block here, which is why when you click enter immediately after typing for magician in magicians with the colon, it gave that indentation. So if you're not able to provide that indentation, it will state it out there, expected an indented block. So to avoid errors in this type of code, check your code. Then forgetting to indent additional lines, like now, if in this particular line, like I said, the fact that there is no indentation in this print, thank you everyone, that was a great show, it singles it out. I tried to explain it at hand, but I want to still repeat it for emphasis. The fact that you remove the indentation before this message, before this line of code, we separate it from the for loop. It doesn't run in the for loop. So like I said earlier, if you want to continue with your code, this is the way to go. So let us give an example. We are also going to talk about indenting unnecessarily. If you indent unnecessarily, it also distorts the code from running. So let's see. Okay, let's see. Message is equals to hello, and we say leave spaces and say print this as C. Unexpected indent. So you have to be careful when writing your codes. This is not a for loop, so the indentation is not needed. It would actually not let your code run. So let's talk about indenting unnecessarily after the for loop. When you're done with your for loop, let's move this. Okay, sorry. Indenting unnecessarily. When you're done with your code, if you like now give spacing unnecessarily, let's put this back here, let's give it some space. Okay, so now this is what it was normally initially, then you now give and save. Let's run it and see. Unexpected indent. The fact that it has already been separated from, I forgot to mention this, please give your work one line space before you write the next one you want to continue with, for neatness and also to indicate that you are also not operating in the for loop anymore. So now this unexpected indent showing that this spacing here was very unnecessary and not needed. So if you are done with your for loop, you continue in the next and just go straight. The spacing won't allow your code run. Forgetting the colon, I want to stress this point. I've talked about it. The colon is what makes it, mainly after you put that colon and you press enter, that indentation is solely because of the colon. If you forget the colon and you go to the next thing, or it even indents for you, go to the next thing, that colon won't let, without the colon your code will not run. Your code will not run. Let us try it out. I will give you your desired result. Invalid syntax. So without the colon your code will not run. So the colon at the end of a for statement tells Python to interpret the next line as the start of a loop. So without it, you can't tell Python, okay, print this as the start of the next loop or of a loop. So let's go right into numerical lists. We would actually talk about numerical lists on our next session. So that will be all for this session. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification icon to get notified whenever we drop a new video. See you in the next session. Bye.